Okay, so welcome everyone. There are some seats up front. I know it's hard to be in the front row, but if you'd like to go in the front row. So I appreciate everybody coming out this evening and for the board coming out this evening. I know people are worried with school right around the corner and the vacancies at Carrie Ricker. Want you to be assured it's top of mind, highest priority right now. Every day we're working really hard to post, repost, put it on various sites. People in the schools are networking, we're networking to fill those positions. Applications come in every day. We have interviews scheduled this week for teaching positions. We're still hopeful for special education teaching applications. So I want you to know this is extremely important, and I understand the stress and the anxiety it's putting on families, the staff. So I want you to know we recognize that immensely. A couple of things that were asked right now, just so people are clear on positions. So in the special ed teacher positions, we had moved a Carrie Ricker position to Libby Tozier to offer support to Libby Tozier, and then looking at Carrie Ricker having two teachers, a resource room teacher, and then an FLS behavior teacher. What we do with everything, and Justin Kelleher's here, our new special ed director, daily we're looking at what caseloads are, what students' needs are, what our staffing is, to see how we can support our staff, our students in their education. So I want you to know that. We also put a position at Sabatis Primary School so that each school had two special education teachers. Right now the SBS have been hired. One has been hired at Libby Tozier, and then we have our one teacher at Carrie Ricker, and we're looking to hire the resource room teacher for Carrie Ricker. So I just wanted you to know that is what's happening right now at the elementary level. Regarding the classroom teachers, we are hiring one third grade teacher. We have 5 third grade positions. We have 1 opening. In the 4th grade, we have 4 fourth grade teachers, and we're looking to hire 2. So that's where we are right now with the 4th grade. I've had certain questions. What if you can't hire them? So obviously there are lots of plans that we're trying to put into place of contingency plans. My mic keeps going in and out, so I'm sorry. I hear it going in and out. and yeah. Okay, there, I think I am now. So looking at contingency plan, which involves looking always around our current staff, our caseloads, and also if we have to, putting in long-term subs, looking at our all our staffing. So every single day we're pushing to make sure we have the quality, high-quality people in these positions. So I want you to know that. So those are the plans if we can't get teachers, is looking at contingency plans around our own staff that we have currently, and then looking at long-term subs or folks that we can move around to help support your students with IEP plans. That's our number one goal, is to make sure we're meeting our IEP, your students' needs, and educating all students. Okay? I've been asked, do we plan to open? We do plan to open. We do plan to open. We're going to keep an eye on every single thing as we get closer to the opening of school. Our class list is going to change. Right now, the class lists are the class lists, and then as teachers are hired, the teachers will be assigned to a class list. So there's no intention of changing the class lists. Instead, there'll be teachers as they're hired, assigned, and then you'll be communicated with who your teacher, your child's teacher will be. I think I answered that. Good news are our Ed Tech 3 positions. Should be, all are hired except for one. And we have interviews this week, so we think we will have all our ed tech positions filled at Carrie Ricker, at all the schools at this point. Yep, Carrie Ricker, Libby Tozier, and SPS, all ed tech positions will be filled. So that's the good news, is we are fully staffed with our ed tech 3s. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. Okay, so that's the update.
Is it still on? Okay, so now I'll use this one. Maybe I won't cut out. Who knows?
Who knows?
So at this point, we're going to allow some discussion, but I'm going to let you know that this discussion is about Carrie Ricker and Carrie Ricker only. It's not about any other school. That was what the meeting was asked for, was for Carrie Ricker vacancies only. So the original person that asked was for Carrie Ricker. Her original ask was for Carrie Ricker. So, Diane?
You want me to review the number of staff vacancies? Okay.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so, that's fine. Okay. Oh, sorry. Your mic went out. That's fine. Okay, so we're currently interviewing for a principal at Carrie Ricker and Libby Tozier. That's happening this week. And that also is involving the opening principal position at Sabatis Primary School. Then at the middle school is our functional life skills position is open. And at the high school is the science position. For a bus driver, oh, I heard somebody. I heard you. So yeah. So for bus drivers, we're, by the end of the week, we should be fully hired. We hired a bus driver today. There's interviews again tomorrow. And so we will be fully staffed with bus drivers. And we have others that are in the wings. So we're having a lot of really good luck with Indeed. The high school also has a social worker position open. They're interviewing this week. So as I said, applications keep coming in. I've been refreshing ads on on Serving Schools. We have paid to access School Spring. We're putting positions on Indeed. So we're hopeful. We also have Director of Operations open. We have applications. Those interviews will be occurring the beginning of next week. So that's good news. Yeah. So I think that covers them all.
Diane? Any discussion?
No, I've been at interviews all this week, so, and then as the week goes on, more interviews this week as well, but we've had some extremely, good candidates, so I'm hopeful that we can have everybody in a good place by the time school starts.
Christine?
Yes. My first question was going to be principal, which Katie has already given us an update on that. I guess just a question for those of us that have kids that are in 3rd and 4th grade, me being one of them, with their teacher not being assigned. Is that something we're going to find out before open house, or will we find out at open house?
Well, hopefully, as soon as we have the person on board and assign the class list, we'll make sure our communication goes out.
Thank you.
Robbie?
Katie, I know historically
Your mic's not on.
Hello?
No.
It's not on, no. Okay.
You can hear 'em.
Oh, you can hear him? Okay,
Yeah, but they
okay.
might not be able to online. So.
Yeah, it's the online, I try to.
Hello?
Here.
So I guess we know that these historically are pretty late hires for the start of school,
Yeah.
because in the past, most hires are done by July or whatever. So I guess I've been on interviews with the 4th grade teacher, and I was on an interview for another 4th grade teacher, but it was canceled because they found another opening that they wanted better than ours. But anyway, are we getting the candidate pool that, you know, I know the committees are looking at them and bringing it in, but we're getting enough candidates so we can have choices and,
I mean, yes, we had like probably about 10 applicants for the positions that were open initially.
right,
And so we moved on those quickly. But as everybody knows, and I think there's been a couple of stories on the news recently, there's a lot of openings in all the districts. So people are interviewing 3 or 4 places. So as we offer, if they have a different offer, they might choose a different district. So, I mean, I'm committed that we're not just going to put anyone in because we're going to start school. We want to make sure we
Right.
have a
Right.
quality teacher in the classroom.
right.
That will be that's our number one goal.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Scott,
I don't have anything.
Laura?
I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Because I didn't know a lot of things. It seemed like everything happened in like a 2-week span. So is that like, to Rob's point, is this a discussion like with all of us, or is this like I say stuff and then it moves on?
No, I'm
No,
listening.
It's a discussion within the board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So part of my question is that previously, if this was normally kind of in July, was there a lot of people that left all at once that then caused, because you kind of see online like a mass exodus, like why were these not filled maybe in July, and why are they now being filled?
So what happens is sometimes we're aware that someone is leaving, right? And then sometimes we're not aware. So it depends on the timing. The other thing is we may be aware, but they don't step down from a position until they have a contract with another district, right? So that can take 2 to 3 weeks. So as soon as we were made aware, we posted and we started getting applications. So it felt, I can see how it felt the way it felt, but I think it kind of rolled, if you know what I mean. Like one happened 1 week, then the next week, then the next week.
So do you know in the last 2-3 weeks maybe, so do you know how many Carrie Ricker vacancies became open in a 3-week period all at once?
I would say 1, 2, about 4.
4 at once. And throughout the district, did that seem high for a school with only 2 grades in it?
Well, across the district, that had the highest turnover. Yes.
Hang on.
I don't know, I'm done yet, sorry.
Yeah.
I just had to write down my note to.
That's all right.
And so I have what ed tech has, I was trying to kind of, and then I had to go to the back side of the page. So there's the special, is it special ed and ed tech together, or special ed has 1 behavior, 1 resource room? And
Right.
then ed tech has all but 1, or 1 is open, but all the rest are filled.
Yes, so at Carrie Ricker, there are 2 teaching positions and 5 ed tech positions.
Open?
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Clarification.
That was gonna be my next question. So with
So
the
there-
principal, behavior, resource, a 3rd grade teacher, 2 4th grade teachers, and 1 ed tech. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions total. How many positions are in that school?
Okay, so right now that's open, let's back up. Right now that's open at Carrie Ricker is the principal position,
Yeah,
the resource room teacher,
yeah,
2 4th grade positions,
yeah,
a 3rd grade position,
yeah.
okay? And a librarian. Thank you for reminding, the librarian, Ed Tech 3. And then of the 5 Ed Tech positions, there is 1 open, which we're interviewing for on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay,
So
7
that's 7.
position. Yeah.
How many, so there's 5 ed tech positions at that school, and then there's 4 4th grade, 5 3rd grade, a principal, assistant principal.
Mm-hmm. Nurse, guidance.
So
And
how
we have
many-
hired a nurse.
Title I.
So I was just kind of curious at how many total positions are at that school to how many open.
Right.
Hang on. It's not a conversation with the public and the board, it's the board conversation. So if we could keep the conversation to just the board, thank you.
I don't want to underestimate.
Right.
Right, exactly.
So just my concern.
Yeah,
is
there's a
if
concern.
a quarter of the positions are open, or a third, or a half, or whatever
Right.
that is. Because I don't have kids that go to Cary Ricker and Libby Tozier, and I know
Right.
that some positions have shifted even. So as
Yeah.
you said, to Sabatis Primary and Libby Tozier and
Right.
that too. So
Sure.
I was just kind of curious at the percentage of open positions, but
Right.
so somebody else can probably. Oh, and then like school wide, I think it's helpful. Something that might be helpful in the future, and like you guys can let me know if you think otherwise. But all that the RSU4 page I think is doing really good. I saw the bus driver post. I saw looking for substitutes and adult ed programs and all of these things. I think that was really helpful to see. But then you don't see the other side, like, hey, we're welcoming Katie Grandin, we're doing this, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Like, you
a
don't
good
see
idea.
that. So you
Yeah.
just see this flood, and then you start to be like, well, why are they looking for
Yeah.
30 people? Do you know what I mean? But then
Yeah.
you're hiring and you're doing, and it's like,
I
people
like-
don't
yeah.
see that.
No, that's a
So,
great suggestion,
yeah.
Laura. You're right. I'm focused on the immediate, like, ugh,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, but
Yeah.
saying,
But
welcome
then
so-and-so, yeah.
All of us are just continuing to see, like, need, and you're like, holy cat. Like,
Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay. No, that's a good idea. Just like the bus driver thing, welcome yeah, I hear
Yeah.
what you're saying, yes.
So there's 39 staff members at Cary Ricker, according to the website. That includes food service workers, janitors.
Yeah.
So 39 and then 7 open. 8 openings. Sorry. No, 7. So 39 divided by 7. I counted specialists. Yeah.
But they're not housed there anymore.
Right.
So maybe a third. A little less than a third. Yeah.
Or
Fourth.
But we can work on the welcome slides.
18.
We'll work on that.
What if you took it just classroom? It'd be 30.
Yeah, so with third grade having 5, 1 open, and fourth grade having 4 and 2 open.
Right.
Like, I think that's, and not, I think there's lots of concern with all of the positions, but I think, like, specifically, you have a kid going to school in 2 weeks, and they don't have a teacher. They're like, there's no name
Yeah.
or anything.
Exactly. That's the fear, definitely.
Mm. You're it.
All set? Matt?
Well, for now, right? It can come back if I.
If you think of something.
Because I don't have, like, I am one that just saw on Facebook, and I don't normally kind of look at my computer in between either.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then we have nothing either. And I'm like, and I actually called Christy because I'm like,
Yeah.
what's happening? Like, what is going on? But, yeah, so I was surprised, I think, and I understand you two coming back from vacation and things and trying
Yeah.
to check all the boxes. And then it was like notice after notice after notice. And it just felt like there was a real breakdown in that other communication, and
Yeah.
knowing that we have a great team at RSU42 and, all of you guys on the board as well that are doing the interviews. And thank you for that. But it's that communication piece that
Yeah.
really, I think, is a problem.
I just had a question about the number of resignations, if there was anything done internally to figure out why such a high number during this period.
So I've spoken to several staff members, and I know you mentioned exit survey, so I do have one getting ready, prepared for, so when folks leave, we will have a survey for folks to fill out. So variety of reasons that people shared. I think most people know they felt administration support. I talked to others. I mean, some were very emotional about it. There were others that they're going to be closer to home. Some they're making $12,000 to $15,000 more a year. So I think it was a variety of reasons from what people discussed with me. And I was very appreciative of those who, said, I'd like to have a conversation with you. We had one pop in this week to have, more talk about just, I'm going to miss everybody. I'm very emotional, and it was a tough decision. But, people are seeing that they can make, more money, and they want those options. And I think what we're seeing is there's a lot of openings everywhere, so people start to say there is some other options, and I think that's some played into it. I was hopeful that, with changes perhaps in administration and things that were happening, the great work that Carrie Ricker started last spring to address concerns would have held people, and then people make choices.
And then,
Is there an anonymous thing to opportunity for that? Because I think most all of us here have professional jobs as well, and I don't know that's a common. I mean, definitely people are going to leave for more money or closer to home, or life changes and things. But that's not what I've kind of heard from some people either, and I would challenge that because. I think it was pretty clear from a few people at what some opportunities were and things. So is there something that we could do in the future for like an anonymous?
That's what I was just referencing. There's an exit survey that we can put together that's anonymous, that when people resign or we would send out, and then they could fill it out, and then we would share that with the board.
And so maybe something to add to the next agenda, but opportunity for it to be like a hiring and exit committee that you could do both.
Well, I just said we would do it, and personnel committee can go over the survey.
Well,
and-
you didn't say that it was going to go to the personnel committee, so I assumed,
I
assumed it was just going to go to you, and I would like it shared.
Oh, you mean the results come?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I said the results would be shared with the board. I think I did say that.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
She did.
Okay.
Say that. Yeah.
All right,
did.
She did.
I missed
Yeah.
it.
No, that's all
Yeah.
right. I did. Yeah. That's all right.
so
Uh,
people, current and former staff, have reached out to me at
Yeah.
my public request. And also a anonymous survey has been making the rounds through or from a community member. So I guess my follow-up question would be, seeing some of those results and what has been presented to me, what has been done to prevent any further loss of our teachers and staff?
Right. So we're in the middle of hiring new principal, and so there's many staff members participating in that. Definitely listening, and those who have spoken to me and shared things with me. I'm reviewing their survey results, the work they were doing last spring. So definitely working with folks to make sure that people feel supported and heard. I know Justin's been reaching out to folks on the special ed team. So just trying to be listening, connecting. I think once we have a new administrator in place, then people can get to know that person. So I think there's a lot being done to make sure that we're ready for the new year.
Okay, so sorry, I have to go back to the beginning because I've been making notes the whole time, and I'm last. I wasn't expecting you to, Scott. I was prepared before. My first question has to do with the number of no openings. I know we went through them, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to make you go through them again, but I
Okay.
don't think we touched upon Sabatis Primary
Yeah.
because Michaela moved over to the middle school.
Yes.
So is that building principal filled?
No. So we're interviewing for principals this week that will impact both the hiring at Carrie Ricker and the Sabatis Primary.
Okay, and I did catch Carrie Ricker and Libby Tozier, and I apologize if
That's
you did
okay.
say Sabatis, but I missed it.
That's all right.
Earlier in the discussion, there was a talk about contingency plans, and it says involves current staff. Can you provide some detailed information with what that looks like, what that means for our current staff, and how it might impact them and our children?
So that's personnel. I really can't get it. There's been no discussion further than that.
So personnel is what students will be combined, or what your plan is for taking care of a classroom that doesn't have an adult?
No,
Is
what,
that sometimes like an
Oh,
ed
sorry.
tech or like a long-term sub solution or
yeah.
like that
When
interim?
we're looking at just, the first step, Nicole, is making sure we get a teacher, right? That we're going to fill those
Yeah,
positions.
we said that about bus drivers too. So can we go to the next step, right? We said that about bus drivers last year. We were all on hopium for months and months. What if we don't? Let's go with the what if,
Right.
because I
I
think
told
that's
you
what
we
the
would have
parents want to know.
contingency
Right, so
plans.
what does that look like? You said there were 3 levels, involves current staff, and
Correct.
caseloads, and long-term subs.
Yep.
So what does involves current staff mean?
We would look at all current staff, the caseloads, and we would make decisions on how we're going to address the needs. I have had no discussions with personnel, so I will share that when we've made those decisions.
Okay, so, my next question has to do with the good feedback that you're getting, and it's nice to see that people are reaching out to you. Is anybody providing any information or context to you so that you may be able to understand what lack of administrative support means? Because that is a very vague phrase.
Yeah. So I think it's multifaceted. So in discussing how to best meet, that's what we're going to work with the next administration, with the leadership team. So in taking their feedback, listening and sharing, that went into some of the questions that we asked of candidates today, and then working with their leadership teams to discuss those.
Was there anything that they indicated that the school board can do for them in those comments or in their reasonings behind their concerns with our issue 4?
I would say, if I heard anything, I think the appreciation of being more united and more supportive came up for a couple of folks that I spoke with.
I think too, I don't know, there was a resignation letter that was emailed to us in May that had a couple of paragraphs specifically of ways that this teacher didn't feel supported in her role. So I think it would be good for the board to kind of go back and review that letter. And then with all of this, like, it just seems like it's
Yeah.
brewed for a bit.
Yeah. And obviously the director of special education, I've discussed things that were raised for support, and all the resignation letters will be included in your packet. So you'll see every person letters. And there's some things that people shared that they shared personally.
Okay. I have 2 more, or actually, yeah, 2 more
Sure.
questions. Not to put Sam on the spot, I'm not saying that she has to talk. She talks a lot of good information about attrition and turnover, so I was wondering if you have decided or talked about maybe doing some sort of analysis on that, right, given the environment that we're in, and seeing if there is some sort of, just, if it's just also part of the normal cycle or not. Just curious, not that you've done that or that I've asked you before, I actually just thought of it.
Can you give me, like, what kind of data would you be looking for in that
And
study?
you've just talked about it before, a couple other meetings, or, in your expertise and in your role before, with what you've seen over
Sure.
the years.
Yeah, I'd be
Nothing
happy
formal,
to.
nothing,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, trends.
Yeah, I'll stew on that and maybe reach out with a question or two about direction.
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up on Laura's comment about the survey. So I know you said hiring and exit. I think we need one in the middle, and maybe we can add that to an agenda. We need an annual 360, something like that. Like Laura said, in my professional job, I have an annual, actually twice a year, you know, and then all the data gets aggregated and analyzed, and they try to do, you know, do better, because there's morale issues in every industry, in every company. You know, not everybody's going to like each other and get along, but we want to be able to do better, and I think that that would help us do that.
Like a culture survey type of thing? Because I don't think like if you were asking specific staff on like, I think that gets too far into that other role, but like a culture survey, like what, how you,
It's normally like, you know, do you feel appreciated? Do you feel safe?
Yeah,
That's what it's called, or
they
not.
did do the PBIS survey, which did have many of those questions.
Is that anonymous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is anonymous, and we shared it before, but we'll make sure we can go through it again when we have a PBIS update. We can have Tracy kind of go through the survey results and what they're seeing as trends, okay?
And does that ask information about your direct leaders?
It's not
as
going
well?
to ask personnel questions. That if a principal puts out a survey around their leadership to inform their leadership, that wouldn't be public, because that's part of their growth plan. It's just like a teacher having a survey.
So I think we need a 360 annual survey, which is where the staff, you know, evaluates their direct leader. You know, do you feel supported by your manager? Do you feel that you get the information?
But that wouldn't go to the board.
I'm just going to leave that at that. We can talk about that at a different day.
then just for Matt's reference, PBIS acronym.
Oh, yeah. Positive behavior intervention support.
And then
He's like, I know.
Christy had her hand up, so I am getting ready to turn it over, but I do want to give a shout out to Justin. I'm hearing really good things about you in our district and our community, so thank you. I know special ed is a very critical area right now, and where we have quite a few vacancies, so thank you.
I was just going to piggyback on Nicole's idea of 360. I think for us as a board, it could be really helpful to identify themes and trends in terms of when we're making decisions around the budget. So if you're hearing a lot of themes around like there's not enough substitutes, or we're noticing trends that we're losing teachers after the second year, like what can we do as a board to kind of financially support those things? Not so much in the weeds, but I would encourage the A team to think about getting feedback from their teachers and thinking about how to kind of use that as a professional development opportunity, and thinking about it as kind of an educational leader to kind of see if there's trends in those buildings, so maybe we can predict if there's going to be mass unhappy folks ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I just wanted to give a shout out. I noticed that there's a sub-teacher training that Adult Ed is putting on. I know that our substitute lists have been very, very minimal. And a lot of ed techs over the last couple of years have actually been pulled into the classroom to serve as substitutes. So if there's anybody out there listening that would love to help out in our district, that substitute training is a great opportunity. And I know that we are definitely going to need some help.
And I could sit at some open houses too, if we have like application, if you need a body to sit at a table,
Yeah.
I would be happy to kind of sit there with some opportunities for everyone coming in, if it's a job, a bus driver application, like whatever it is.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
With school starting so soon, and we have new teachers and almost a whole entire fourth grade but one teacher.
Right.
We need to put some time aside for these teachers to meet together. So, I mean, you're in service right away. Is there time for these teachers to have a get-together so they can be on the same page and know, you know, what it's like to be at Carrie Ricker and know what the curriculum is? I think we need to set time aside for those teachers.
We do have teacher orientation next Tuesday, and then as we bring people on board, I see Shannon here. I'm going to give a shout out to her because her new colleague, Jolene Perry, has spoken very highly of Shannon and how much she has been supported. I want to thank you, really, Shannon, because it is falling on the teachers that are there to help support the teachers coming in. So we're going to do everything we can to support them. Our new curriculum director, Shelley Mogul, is going to make sure she's over there touching base with them. So definitely, yeah.
And
we'll work with that.
mentors, or
Yeah,
we need to make sure we have
Exactly, the
mentors for all of
mentors.
these teachers.
yeah,
And maybe stipends for those as well.
yeah. The mentors do receive stipends, yeah.
Anyone else? Robbie?
Yeah, Jill. Katie, have you had any feedback? Well, you see on social media, because they say some staff are worried about retribution or whatever. But have you seen any, like association representatives that the teachers could go to if they're having trouble with administration? Because I know in the past that has happened.
Yeah.
And I've been in on meetings where if it wasn't local association leaders, it was state, Maine
Right,
Teachers
yeah.
Association leaders
Yeah.
that would set a meeting with the board member, the board chair and the superintendent to go over these things. So I don't want teachers to feel that they have to come forward and they could feel, they have representation
they
that
do.
they could, and we have steps in the contracts that they could use to get those points across without, doing it, they can do it anonymously
Correct.
through their representative.
Yeah.
And I just hope that that system isn't breaking down, that our
Right.
staff members would realize that that service is out there for them, and it's been helpful in the past. I've been in on meetings as a board chair with the superintendent and the service director that, she would come in and say, look, our staff members are seeing this and this and this with administrators. Is there any way that we can, address it before it gets to be a problem?
Yeah.
And I hope that our staff members can have that support.
Right, yeah. So every building has union
Right.
reps, yep. And then every month we meet with labor management, the presidents.
I know.
Myself and
Right.
at the time was the assistant superintendent, but myself, and we met monthly, discussed.
Right, so no
issues.
staff member should feel that they should have to
Right.
be face-to-face
Right,
with an administrator
right,
and feel that they're going to get,
exactly,
okay.
yeah.
So to piggyback on that though, I would hate for and I know not everything is like fixable always, right? But I would hate for our staff, especially at this mass exodus kind of thing, I'd hate for staff to feel like they had to go to their union rep because they weren't being heard. Because that's like something I love about living in this little town, in this community, is that like people listen. You might not always agree, but you can talk to somebody that you
Right,
maybe
but
don't
not-
get along with.
But not
or-
everybody is willing to step up and go
But
one-to-one
we
with
should be
their
creating a
administrator.
culture that people can do that.
Yes, I
right?
know, but they
Like,
still have
They do.
that resource if they
Yeah,
don't.
It's just an
Yeah.
additional resource.
No,
Yeah.
I understand that, but I
Yeah.
hope that we're not. I hope that we're not initiating that. Because looking at this only resignation letter I've seen, it looks like that person tried to advocate, tried to do, and then they were like, you know what? You're not listening to me. Good luck. Like I can't take anymore. They didn't go to their union rep, right? Or maybe they did, but we didn't hear about it. Like I don't know, but I just hope that we're trying to build the culture in our community that we are listening, we do hear you, and these are some actionable items that we're going to do to address it, is all.
Right.
I just want everybody to know that they have that resource.
Yeah.
If they don't feel comfortable going to their administrator.
From the outreach that I've received, I can say that widespread, there is fear of retribution or retaliation. So that system is not working.
Anyone else?
I can say, having been in this district for 36 years, when I first started, and for many years up until I think Jim Hodgkins was superintendent, we always you were given a survey about our administrators, and we always had that face-to-face, and he would come back or she would come back, discuss what had happened, and then all of a sudden, it all stopped. And as a teacher, I get feedback so I can grow. We give our kids feedback so they can grow. Our administrators need feedback so they can grow too. There's room for improvement. There's room for learning. Everybody has room for learning. So I think it's important that they do that. All of them. You can't get better if you don't know what you need to improve on.
Any other discussion?
I was just gonna ask, sorry, if the chair had anything either.
I would like to just call a point of order. We do have policy BEDH, which states for special meetings, the public is cordially invited to attend and participate in board of directors meetings. So I would like to know how the chairwoman or the superintendent would like to invite the public to participate.
This is an emergency meeting, not a special meeting.
It says, but it says, it does say both. Regular, special, and emergency meetings of the Board of Directors are open to the public. The public is cordially invited to attend and participate.
Okay. Do you
So-
want to make a motion to amend the agenda?
Well, I didn't even hear 1.3 agenda adjustment. We did the pledge and went right into it, so I wasn't able to do that. But I would like to now offer the public to participate by offering public comment if they wish. So could I make a motion to do that, please?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. So we will open the floor to public comment.
Did you just want to really quickly point out order, all those opposed?
Oh, I'm abstaining anyway, doesn't matter.
For the record, though.
So
Those approved, deny.
We all did.
you all did.
Yeah, they all did.
Jill didn't, though.
I didn't.
Jill abstained.
So we're going to go ahead and open up the field to comments. I will ask that you please, when you come to the mic, to identify yourself and where you are from. And please ask that you don't use any student names or teacher names, as that is a personnel and a student issue. I will allow 2 minutes per person to come up and have your comment made. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't think it's on.
It's probably not turned on, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfection. My name is Jessica Cross. I live in Litchfield. I also own a daycare in town. I moved to the area just a couple years ago, so I'm new to all this. Forgive me. It's my first meeting. I did have a couple questions that were answered throughout, a couple that were not answered. How many teachers have left Carrie Ricker, or all three, since school let out?
So the option for public comment is not a back and forth. So you can say your
Oh.
comment and then we'll move on to the next
Sure.
person.
Okay, so,
Just email me and I'll answer.
Yes. So if you
okay,
have
because
a
I have
question,
quite a
just
bit of
email the
questions, and I'm sure
superintendent.
that there's a lot of people here that do. And I saw that you had some questions written down when you came in, that you said, here's some questions that I've had, and you answered them. How do we get on that so that everybody can
Yeah.
hear your answer to the question?
So that was from a board member.
Mhm.
So just email me the questions and I'll answer them for you. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so then I will state my questions as statements. I think that we all deserve to know how many teachers have left the school since school let out, so that we can compare and see, yes, we've hired this many people, how many have left, and why have they left? I think that we all deserve to know the plans for retention. All of these teachers have left for a reason. What is our plan going forward to make sure that we're not continuing to lose teachers? We want to be a school people want to work at. And if we can't beat people competitively with pay, then we need to beat them with creating an environment that teachers want to be a part of. Because I know for me, I would take a pay cut to go be happy somewhere. I think that if these surveys are anonymous, the surveys about how teachers feel supported, if they feel supported, are they comfortable in their school, are they safe, happy? If they are anonymous, I feel like us as a community deserve to see those results as well, because if there's anything we can do to help, if the teachers aren't being heard, I know that all of us would have their backs if it's justified and we need to. So I think making sure that we all can also see the teacher feedback so we can support them. I think that we should also start thinking about a backup plan if we are not hiring teachers now, not saying, all right, we're going to look at it whenever, in a week or 2 weeks, school starting in less than 2.5 weeks. What are we going to do? Not, these are things we could do if we don't hire. What are we going to do? Because these students are going to be walking through the door whether you're ready or not. And I think that's all I have. I can email them over as questions, but I'd honestly like them to be answered for everyone to see. I think everyone deserves to see it, not just me. That's all I have. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marissa Tardif. I live in Sabatis. I have children at Oak Hill Middle and Oak Hill High School. I just wonder about, or I guess my comment is, when my son came to Carrie Ricker, I forget her name, there's a little Spitfire with short blonde hair that was the principal. Do you remember her name? And so it seems as though the culture of the principal at that time was just fantastic. And it seems to have waxed and waned since that period of time. And granted, I think that, and I hate to blame things on COVID, but I think COVID has largely affected education, unfortunately, not for the positive. So I just wonder and curious about unified administration in terms of educators or principals for all of the schools, in terms of how they approach, how they manage schools, because it seems as though it's variable from each school, and there's different degrees of success and retention and teachers doing well or not doing well under different principals, and whether that could be more streamlined or unified. I also just wanted to echo that I think it's so important that if these teachers for 3rd and 4th grade are hired and the bottom of the 9th here, that they have support and mentors such as Shannon are supported to continue to support them, but have the time and perhaps a stipend as well. And I don't know specifically what's happened at Carrie Ricker, but there's obviously been talk of it being related to somebody who's no longer there. So I didn't know if those that potentially resigned, if there's any way to retain them or get them back, because I know some of them were beloved members of our teaching community. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
I am Tammy Thibodeau. I'm from Litchfield. I'm a current employee of RSU4. I'm a school bus driver. And that's where I say, I don't know if it's good or bad. However, I am a mom of a 4th grader. And the stress level has been through the roof. Like right now, sitting here shaking. What can I say? He comes first. And if it means my job, then it means my job. But it's not okay. And a lot of these teachers have not left because of the pay. They have left because of administrative reasons. And like I said, I don't want to put I love my job. I've been here almost 10 years. I love my job. I've been driving the same group of kids for almost 10 years. And I would hate that for anything to happen. I would hate to not be allowed to drive bus anymore, because I'm here trying to stand up for my son and his education along with all the other kids' education. They mean a lot. And I have a lot of questions, and yes, I will email them. However, I just want, much like everybody else's voice is heard, it's not okay, and these kids have not had a fair chance right out the gate. They've been through COVID, the pandemic, everything else. Everything has been an uphill challenge, and to sit there and try and explain to your kid that this is not how it's supposed to be, and then on top of it have to explain it because staff is leaving, it's not easy. It's hard. It's heartbreaking. There have been multiple staff that have left in tears, not because of the money, because they felt their voices weren't heard. And I guess that's all I have. It's an emotional subject.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of parents out there feel the same way. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
I'm Wendy Perkins. I'm from Litchfield. I have a student that's outsourced, but I also have grandkids that I have a 4th grade grandchild as well. my biggest thing is IEPs. I, you know, I just want to make sure that these kids and these IEPs are met. And if they can't be met, what we're going to do, how we're going to, I mean, I think that needs to be top priority. I think it needs to be important, especially where there's a whole turnover at Carrie Ricker with the entire special ed department. I've met Justin; he's awesome. We've already had our meeting. We haven't, but I think that's my biggest thing is, what are we going to do if these IEPs can't be met? How are we going to meet them? And I think that needs to be the most important thing. I mean, that's huge. So, and that's my thing is I just want to make sure that those are all, because I know there's a bunch of us out there that, are ready to make sure they're met. But, by hiring these teachers, by hiring these, again, it's that ninth inning, 2 weeks before school, are they going to be up for this? And are the needs going to be met?
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jill Harrison. I am in Wales, and I have a fourth grader. Comments-wise, sorry, third grade. My bad. I'm sorry, you guys. I guess at the end of the day, my concern is my son did have a teacher. He was assigned a classroom, and now he has no teacher. Okay. At the same time, the principal left. So the principal and my kid's teacher left at the same time. As an outsider looking in, that doesn't feel like a really good place to want to work if people are leaving 2 weeks before. It's very upsetting as a parent. I'm looking into private schools because can I put my faith here? I can't, right? And that's a problem. Okay, I love my community. I moved here from Fort Kent, Maine, and I'm telling you right now that this is just as close as it was up home. But this right here is not okay. Why are we now going to be like, oh, you know what, 28 people left. Maybe we ought to have an anonymous survey for everybody. Does anybody else think that's asinine that we're doing it now? Because I sure do, and I'm sure 98% of this community also thinks the same thing. I'm over it. We're all over it. And I understand you guys as a board member, you're doing the best that you can, but it has to stop. We have got to make it so that these people love their job. I'm an employer. I don't pay the highest rate, but I can tell you right now that none of my guys are leaving, and you know why they're not leaving? Because I treat them with respect. I support them. They don't have to go to a union because they had a bad day. They can come talk to me. They don't have to go anywhere else. And that right there should be number one. You have 28 people that left this small community. The numbers are there. So I thank you guys very much for your time. And I appreciate trying to get the teachers in, but I just really think that we have got to do something different. Have a great night.
Anyone else?
My name's Corey Vashon. I have 5 kids in the school system. There's a lot I could say, a little nervous here, but, and I just got here, I listened to the meeting on YouTube or whatever on my way here in the car, and I might have missed it. I am considering you guys to be in charge of RSU4, right? I mean, is that the case? I mean, who's like in charge here? Who's, okay. Would you consider like all this happening just before the school year starting a failure?
She won't, it's not a back and forth.
Okay, well, I do, all right?
Okay.
And through the whole time, I never heard anyone like say, take any sort of accountability for any of this. Not once, nobody was like, put anything on themselves. And I feel that the person in charge of this train wreck needs to step aside. That's all I got.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm from Wales, and I would just like to say that my child is a fourth grader at Carey Ricker, and he has an IEP. And not only at the end of summer school did he lose his entire IEP team, and that upset him. But then last week, we also learned that he lost his fourth grade teacher as well. So while, yes, I believe that all kids are important and we need to make changes, I really feel for these special needs children that are going to return to the halls and not recognize any faces that they have dealt with for the last, I'll say 3 years, because they taught them for the second grade summer and then third, and this summer going into fourth. And so I hope those kids are really thought about, because it's very unfair for kids that don't fully understand what is going on in the district.
Anyone else? Seeing as there's none, I would like to go ahead and call the meeting adjourned if there's no objection. At 6:27.
Oh, sweet. Good.
Finance. Yeah.